just any match. You deserve the match. In front of the most historic crowd in the history of our sport, in the main event, MJF, Adam Cole, Wembley, All In.
Big time stuff, cannot wait. All In London, Sunday, August 27th, Wembley Stadium. If you can't be there in person, you will be able to catch it on pay-per-view.
Big time coming up for AEW, coming up on Sunday, August the 27th, from the historic Wembley Stadium in London, England. You can catch it live on DAZN pay-per-view in over 20 countries. She is in a big-time match, and she is looking to regain the AEW Women's title. She'll be in a four-way match with the champion, Hikaru Shida, Toni Storm, and Saraya, the one and only Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. And Britt, you hear Wembley Stadium, over 80,000 people. What goes through your mind?
Oh my gosh, it's the excitement, the nerves, the pressure, the nostalgia from the first All In, and it seems like a dream. It really does, and I can't believe that we're here, because I remember the first All In. I thought that was the biggest thing that I would ever do, and fast forward now, this seems like this might be the biggest thing I will ever do. So it's just such a cool moment, such a cool feeling, especially for the OG squad, the people that were at the first All In, because this is something I think none of us thought would ever happen.
You know, I just rewatched that pay-per-view last night, and it was you, Tessa, Chelsea, and Madison Rayne. And you know, you look at the dynamics that, like you said, no one really knew what was going to happen coming out of that show beyond it was 10,000 people. No one thought what would happen. You sold out a venue, did great on pay-per-view. The gate was really great, was really good. When did you realize that show that something big was going to happen for you?
Well, definitely wasn't right away, that's for sure, because you look at the first All In, I was probably one of the least known names on that entire show, and I was just very, very much happy to be there. I was very, very thankful, and I knew I probably didn't quite belong yet on that stage, but I was so thankful for the opportunity. And then it was kind of all a blur. It was one thing led to another. There was the rumblings that something big might be happening, and then I got a couple texts from people saying, "Hey, Britt, please don't sign with WWE. We might have something we want to talk to you about." And it was one thing just kept leading to another, and then eventually I got to meet Tony Khan, who told me he thought it was awesome that I was a dentist, and he wanted me to be able to do both, and he would help me any way he can to be able to be a dentist and a wrestler. And that was all I needed to hear. I didn't really care about anything else beyond that, because at the time I'm just an indie wrestler. I'm a broke, recently graduated dental student. I just wanted some way to make money wrestling, and then also be a dentist. You know, at the time, I think about it, I didn't even know if we were going to have a TV deal, and I also didn't really care at the time. And for me, this was huge, just to be able to do anything, to wrestle in an arena. That was huge, and I was excited for that. And now you look at how big this has grown into now. I mean, we are going to be at Wembley Stadium in front of 80,000 plus people, and one of the largest attended events in wrestling history. It's so surreal, and again, it's taken all these jumps and hurdles and ups and downs, but it feels like it just happened overnight too. It feels like it's been a blur.
You know, you busted out the coat. I thought that was really cool. It brought a little nostalgia back when you were walking down to the ring. And where had that coat been? Is it a coat you just keep in the closet? Do you wear it often, or where had the coat been up until Wednesday?
Yeah, I keep all my gear. From the first day I started wrestling, I keep it all, and it's just in a little container that I keep in the garage. And I was kind of digging through it to try to get some ideas of what can I wear, and I found that coat from All In. It was the first quote like lab coat that I ever wore to the ring. Of course, it's bedazzled and has sparkles. It's not quite an authentic lab coat, but it's a wrestling lab coat. It was perfect. It was what it needed to be. And although my gear has come quite a long way since then, with the detail and the gems and the crystals, and the studs, that is such a special piece of gear for me. It's something that I'll always remember. And at the time, that was the coolest thing in the world to me, that I got to wear a lab coat to the ring. And I knew nobody would probably care. No one else would get it. But for me, it just represented what I went through to train to be a wrestler and study to be a dentist. And it was the fact that I got to wear it to the ring, and it's real. And being announced as Dr. Baker DMD, it's not a gimmick. That's my real life. And I get to tell at All In 11,000 people that I'm a dentist and a wrestler. That was one of the best days of my life.
Is there going to be a special outfit for next Sunday?
Well, there's always a special outfit, of course, but you're gonna have to wait and see. I all of my gear. Oh, sorry, I think I just muted up. Sorry. I put so much thought into all my gear, all the detail, pretty much into where every last crystal is placed. I'm on FaceTime with my gear maker, Rick Michaels, and we really go through a lot to get the gear to what you see it. And there's even little Easter eggs, like little broken teeth sometimes that some people might not even see, or the DMD logo, and some people might not see that, or a piece of fabric that was from another set of gear that no one will know, but it's stuff that's important to me.
Is there a favorite ring gear or no?
Yeah, well, I have two. So when I won the title, I wore the black and red, the Scott Hall blood drips, and that will always be such a special night to me. I loved the gear. The blood, not only Scott Hall, but it was coming not long after the Bloody Lights Out match. So it just seemed like the perfect time to wear that gear and to have a little tribute. And that night was just so special, not only because they won the title, but I got to share the ring with Sheeta. And it was the first match back after the pandemic when we got to have a full arena for the first time in over a year. And it was such a special moment. It was an emotional moment for all of us when we got to hear the fans again. And then my second favorite gear would be the Britsburg gear, when I got to defend the title in Pittsburgh on the first ever episode of Rampage in the main event. It doesn't get any better than that. Getting to wear your city colors and defend your title in your city and come out the winner.
Who's going to look better at All In, you or Adam?
Oh, well, I will say I have taken the reins a little bit with some of his gear. I'm sure you can tell with his jackets, his ring jackets, since he got to AEW, have really upped their game. But he's actually a stylish guy. He knows what he's doing when it comes to designing his gear. I will say, and I don't want to give away anything he's gonna be mad at me about, but his gear for All In is definitely very, very special to him, and that's all that matters. It's very special to him, and I want everyone to try to kind of think of that once you see what he's coming out in. And I don't want to give anything away. I think that might have been too much already because people really know what he's passionate about. So let's stop there before I get in trouble.
You and his new bro Chacho have had some words in the past on Twitter. And what do you make of this newfound bromance between the love of your life and someone that you really didn't seem to get along with very
well? I think one of Adam's fatal flaws is he's too trusting. He's too optimistic. He sees the best in everything and everyone, and that's wonderful. And I wish I was more like that. But you also have to be realistic and realize sometimes there are giant pieces of shit out there that disguise themselves in a Burberry scarf. On the other side, what better way to get all the TV time in the world than to put yourself with MJF? So I'm very happy for him in that sense, because I mean MJF's face is all over AEW. So if that's gonna mean Adam's face is all over AEW too, I support that. But I just want him to have his guard up at all times.
Me and you talked right before you won the title at Double or Nothing, and I had asked you who was the better heel in between you and Adam, and you had said yourself. But now you guys are on the different side of the spectrum, and who's the better babyface?
I would say him. I would say he's very much quicker to see the good in people and the good in a situation, where I'm always, I'm smart. I'm a dentist. I'm a DMD. I always got something thinking in the back of my head. What could go wrong here, to try to kind of stay ahead of it, try to be cautious, so to say.
Couple more questions, Britton. Thank you so much for the time today. It's greatly appreciated.
Yeah,
And,
no problem.
you know, a lot was made after your match with Taya. And I remember asking Ricky Starks this right after that, and he didn't feel it was right for people to basically try to take a crap on the women's division. And what did you make of all that blowback? Your match with Taya and the fallback after that.
Yeah, so I was really surprised by it. I think I've had way worse matches on AEW live TV. I've had better matches, of course, but I was really surprised. I think a lot of it came from people that just don't like me on social media, and I feel bad that Taya kind of got dragged into it. I've seen, I think probably every week since then, there be mistiming and miscommunications and messed up spots on every wrestling show since then, and no one else kind of got quite that much blowback, and that's fine. But these social media trolls need to realize who they're dealing with. Like I'm the DMD, I'm the face of the division for a reason, and you're gonna motivate me to be even bigger and better, and that's fine. I don't think anybody should ever have to go through the the quote unquote bullying that these trolls do, and it's not just me, it's everybody. I think every wrestler goes through it, and it's everything from what you look like to what you wear to what your hobbies are to then your wrestling, and you don't deserve the spot you're in, and it's someone else's spot, and then it's something's always your fault, and you might not even have anything to do with it, but because they don't like you, they automatically assume it's your fault. It's so frustrating because you want to just shout from the mountaintops, hey, this is the real story, and now you guys can all line up and apologize to me, but you got to think also what's best for business. So it takes a lot of patience and a lot of self-control.
And we'll end with this. What would it mean to you to become the two-time AEW Women's Champion in front of the biggest crowd in the history of pro wrestling?
I think right now is the time for sure. To remind everybody who I am, that I am the first female signed. And again, that I sound like a broken record, but it's because it's true, and it's because I mean it and I believe it, that I am the face of the women's division. You can't say AEW women without thinking of me, and that's a fact, and I know it, and I'm proud of that because I worked really, really hard for that. With that being said, I'm well aware that I've taken a respectful backseat for the past few months, maybe even a year, and that's okay. And maybe even taken quite a few losses, and that's okay. And I've learned from it. But now I'm motivated more than ever, and I'm ready to show everybody again who I am. And I think it's time for me to be the champ again. Time to take another step into the DMD era. I think that was one of the highlights of the women's division is when I was champion, and I have a lot of pride in that. I think we had a lot of interest and a lot of eyes on it, and I'm ready to get back in the ring. I'm ready to have a mic in my hand again. I'm ready to go to the spa with Tony Schiavone again. I'm ready to take it all back and do it all over again, and then some, but do it better.
We do miss those chats with you and Tony Schiavone, and you can catch Britt Baker coming up on Sunday, August the 27th, live on DAZN pay-per-view in over 20 countries, as Britt Baker is in the AEW women's title match. Britt, thank you for the time as always. The best of luck on August 27th, and we cannot wait to see what you come out with.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I am the chosen one. You don't deserve just any match. You deserve the match. In front of the most historic crowd in the history of our sport, in the main event, MJF, Adam Cole, Wembley, All In.
Big time stuff, cannot wait. All In London, Sunday, August 27th, Wembley Stadium. If you can't be there in person, you will be able to catch it on pay-per-view.